He is younger, you are older, and fate is not done with you two. Yet. Today we're diving into a connection that defies logic, timing, expectations, everything. A bond where age is not a barrier but a catalyst, and where destiny seems to be playing its own secret game. Stay until the end, because the twists here are not what you think. The emotional depth is sharper than you expect, and the truth behind his intentions may shock you. Do you feel that his age makes him more bold or more hesitant with you? There's a strange mix happening inside him when it comes to this age difference, something that pushes him forward and pulls him back at the same time. On one hand, he feels this youthful confidence, that impulsive spark that makes him act on emotion, reach out, flirt, say things that someone older might overthink. But at the same time, there are moments when he freezes up, moments when he second guesses whether he's doing or saying enough, moments when he wonders if you expect something more refined, more measured, more stable. So his age doesn't make him clearly bold or clearly hesitant. It makes him oscillate between the two, switching depending on how close he feels to you in that moment. He tries to show courage, but inside, there's a little voice constantly asking whether he's living up to what he thinks you deserve. Are you sensing a magnetic pull between you that neither of you can fully explain? There's something in the energy between you two that goes beyond logic. It's not something that grows slowly. It's something that clicked instantly. Something that feels like recognition rather than discovery. Even when nothing is happening on the surface, there's an underlying current that keeps tugging the two of you closer, like an invisible wire pulling you into each other's orbit. He feels it too, even if he doesn't openly talk about it. The kind of draw that makes him think about you when he wakes up, or feel this little emotional shift when your name pops up on his screen. It's a connection that doesn't need explanation, because both of you feel it in those small, quiet, internal reactions that you can't control. Are you wondering whether he sees you as someone who can guide him or challenge him? In his mind, you're both. There's a part of him that sees you as someone who naturally has more experience, someone whose presence calms him, grounds him, shows him the sides of life he hasn't fully stepped into yet. But at the same time, you challenge him, not by lecturing or correcting, but simply by being someone who knows who they are. Your confidence, your maturity, your emotional awareness push him to level up. He doesn't feel like you're above him. He feels like you bring out a version of him that's sharper, more focused, more self-aware. So he sees you not as a teacher and not as an opponent, but as someone who simultaneously elevates him and makes him want to elevate himself. Are you trying to understand why he keeps choosing you, despite all differences? For him, the age difference isn't the barrier people imagine. It's actually part of what pulls him towards you. He feels understood by you in a way that younger women don't usually offer. There's a sense of emotional safety, a sense that he doesn't have to pretend or exaggerate who he is. You give him space to be both strong and vulnerable without judgment. And on top of that, he feels an authenticity in the connection that he doesn't find elsewhere. So when he chooses you, it's not because he's ignoring the difference. It's because the difference adds depth. He sees something rare in you, something that makes sense to him emotionally, even if it doesn't make sense to the outside world. Do you feel he is more mature emotionally than people give him credit for? People around him often assume that because of his age, he must lack depth, but he has this inner emotional intelligence that doesn't match the number of years he's lived. He may not express it in polished, sophisticated ways, but he feels deeply, thinks a lot, and reflects more than others realize. He picks up on things in your tone, your body language, your silences. He understands when something is off, even if he doesn't always know how to articulate it. His emotional maturity is inconsistent. Sometimes he surprises you with how perceptive he is, and other times he reacts impulsively. But overall, he carries a sensitivity and awareness that don't fit the stereotype of someone younger. Are you questioning whether he admires your experience and confidence? He absolutely observes your confidence, not in a worshipful way, but in a way that genuinely inspires him. What captivates him is how you handle situations, how you express yourself, how you don't rush or panic. He watches how you move through the world with a kind of steadiness that he doesn't always see in his age group. Your experience doesn't intimidate him as much as it fascinates him. He admires the way you've lived, the choices you've made, the strength you've built. That admiration is one of the reasons he feels drawn to you, because being around you makes him feel like he's stepping into a more meaningful version of life. Are you wondering if he feels insecure or intimidated by the age gap at times? Even though he's attracted to the difference, there are moments where it hits him unexpectedly. A moment where he wonders if he's enough, if he looks young in a way he doesn't want to, if you compare him to older, more established men. These insecurities come in waves. They don't dominate the connection, but they do show up in little ways. When he pauses before sending a message, when he overthinks a response, when he tries a bit too hard to appear composed. The age gap doesn't discourage him, but it sometimes makes him question whether he can meet you at your level. Those doubts are real, but they never last long enough to push him away. Are you curious whether he believes this connection is meant to be? There's a part of him that genuinely feels like this connection didn't happen by accident. He may not call it destiny openly, but he feels that strange synchronicity that happens when everything aligns without explanation. He notices how your paths crossed at the right time, how the timing feels unusual but perfect, how your personalities fit in ways he didn't expect. To him, this bond feels like something orchestrated by something bigger, not forced, not planned, but aligned. He feels that the universe put you in his life for a reason, even if he doesn't fully understand what that reason is yet. Do you think he sees you as someone who stands out from everyone around him? He notices you in a way he doesn't notice others. There's something about your presence that triggers a specific type of attention in him, a mixture of interest, curiosity, and a little bit of awe. He doesn't compare you to others. He separates you from them entirely. When he thinks of you, it's not in the same category as his usual connections. You bring out different emotions, different thoughts, a different rhythm in him. You stand out because you make him feel something new, something he can't replace with anyone else, and he's very aware of that contrast. Are you asking yourself if he compares other women to you? He might not do it consciously, but he definitely measures other interactions against how he feels with you. When he talks to someone close to his age, he notices the lack of depth, the lack of emotional pull. When he meets someone new, he feels the difference in how he reacts internally. He doesn't sit there making lists of comparisons, but you've set a standard in his mind, in energy, in connection, in emotional presence. Other women don't give him the same feeling, and even if he tries to brush it off, the comparison happens naturally. Do you sense he learns from you simply by being around you? Every interaction with you teaches him something subtle: how to communicate more clearly, how to handle emotions with maturity, how to listen more openly. You don't lecture him, but he absorbs your approach to life. The way you respond instead of react, the way you think before you speak, the way you maintain your boundaries. These things influence him. He becomes a little more aware of himself around you, a little more thoughtful, a little more intentional. You shape him without trying, and he feels that shift every time he leaves a conversation with you. Are you wondering whether he hides deeper feelings because he fears losing control? There are emotions inside him that run deeper than he's comfortable admitting. He feels them growing, and that growth scares him. It makes him want to pull back at times, not because he doesn't care, but because the intensity surprises him. He's afraid that if you knew how deeply he felt, you might distance yourself, think he's moving too fast, or worry about the seriousness of it. So he underplays his emotions to maintain control. He hides the intensity behind casual messages, light conversations, or moments of emotional restraint. He feels more than he shows, much more. Do you feel he watches you carefully, studying your reactions and emotions? He pays close attention, sometimes more than you realize. When you speak, he watches your eyes, your expressions, the tone under your words. He notices when something shifts in you. He picks up on your mood even if you try to mask it. This observation isn't about control, it's about understanding. He wants to know how you feel, what affects you, what triggers you, what soothes you. He studies your reactions because he cares deeply about how he impacts you and how he can align himself with your emotional world. Are you curious if he feels protective over you, even if he's younger? There's definitely a protective instinct in him, even if he doesn't express it in obvious ways. It's not about age or physical strength. It's emotional. He wants you to feel supported, respected, valued. He gets quietly defensive when someone talks about you in a way he doesn't like. He becomes more attentive when he senses you're stressed or tired. That protectiveness comes from a place of genuine care, not dominance. It's a softer kind of protection, the kind that shows up in small, steady actions rather than grand gestures. Are you questioning whether his intentions are long-term or impulsive? His heart leans towards something lasting, even if his age makes others assume it's all impulse. He doesn't see this connection as something temporary or casual. But at the same time, there's a part of him that still struggles with consistency. Not because he doesn't want long-term, but because he's still figuring himself out. His intentions are not fleeting, but his emotional execution isn't always perfect. He wants something meaningful, something real, something that grows. The challenge is not his intention. It's his ability to navigate deep emotions while still learning who he is becoming. Do you sense that he tries to act older or more mature when he's with you? There's a subtle shift in his behavior whenever you're around. The way he speaks, the way he holds himself, even the way he listens. He becomes more intentional, more thoughtful, almost as if he's stepping into a version of himself he wants you to see. It's not fake. It's more like he's amplifying the parts of himself he feels proud of. He wants to show you that he's not just younger, that he's capable, grounded, and emotionally aware. Sometimes he overdoes it and becomes a little stiff, a little too serious, but that only shows how much he cares about how you perceive him. He wants to match your energy, match your emotional depth, and match the maturity he believes you're used to. Do you feel that you awaken something in him he hasn't felt before? There's a spark inside him that feels new, like a part of his emotional life has been switched on. It's not just attraction, it's curiosity, admiration, and a kind of longing he hasn't experienced with others. Something about the dynamic between you taps into a deeper layer of desire and connection. You make him feel things he didn't expect to feel at this stage in his life. It's the mixture of your confidence, your presence, your emotional steadiness, and the way you see him. He feels seen by you in a way that makes him come alive. That awakening is both exciting and unsettling for him, because it's powerful enough to shift how he views relationships overall. Are you wondering whether he's ready for a real relationship despite his age? He's in a place where he wants something real, but he's still navigating what that actually looks like in practice. Emotionally, he feels drawn to the depth you offer, and he wants to meet that depth with sincerity. But there are moments where his inexperience shows, moments where he hesitates, moments where he doesn't know the right move, moments where he reacts from fear instead of clarity. He's ready in the sense that he genuinely wants a meaningful connection. What he's still learning is how to sustain that level of emotional presence consistently. His desire is solid, but his emotional tools are still developing. Do you think he sees your differences as something exciting rather than problematic? He doesn't look at the differences between you as issues. He sees them as layers that make the connection more interesting. Your perspectives, your experiences, your approach to life, all of this fascinates him. He doesn't want someone who mirrors him. He wants someone who expands him. The differences feel like the spice of the connection, not an obstacle. He feels that your contrast adds chemistry, depth, and a sense of adventure. Instead of feeling like the age gap divides you, he feels it gives the relationship an edge that keeps him engaged and curious. Are you wondering if he imagines a future with you, even secretly? There are moments, especially when he's alone, when his mind drifts into scenarios that include you, the kind of future moments that feel soft, intimate, and grounded. He might not talk about it openly, but he imagines what daily life with you would feel like, what shared experiences you'd have, what it would be like to wake up next to you, travel with you, or build something long-term. He doesn't fantasize in a childish way. It's more like glimpses of possibilities that feel strangely natural to him. These thoughts come uninvited, but they stay long enough to show him that he sees you as more than a temporary chapter. Do you feel like destiny keeps pushing you two into each other's path? There's a flow to your connection that feels orchestrated. Those unexpected messages, the timing of conversations, the random synchronicities that make both of you pause. It's like every time life tries to pull you apart or create distance, something gently nudges you back into each other's orbit. He feels this too, even if he doesn't label it as destiny. He notices the patterns, the coincidences, the emotional pull that doesn't fade with time. It feels intentional, like the universe keeps rearranging things to allow your energies to meet again and again. Are you questioning whether he gets jealous when others show interest in you? His jealousy isn't loud or dramatic. It's a quiet tightening inside him, a shift in his energy, a sudden hyper-awareness of where he stands in your life. When he sees or hears about other men being interested in you, he tries to act unfazed, but internally there's a flicker of discomfort. He cares more than he admits, and that care turns into a subtle possessiveness, not in a controlling way, but in a way that shows he wants to matter to you. He questions whether he's enough, whether he can compete with older, more established men. That jealousy is rooted in his fear of losing his place in your world. Do you sense that he's afraid to disappoint you? He feels a pressure, not because you put it on him, but because he places it on himself. He wants to be someone you're proud of, someone who meets your expectations, someone who adds value to your life. There's a fear running through him that he might fall short, say the wrong thing, appear too inexperienced, or fail to meet the emotional depth you're used to. He doesn't want to be someone who lets you down, or becomes a source of frustration. That fear pushes him to try harder, but at times it also makes him hold back, trying to calculate his moves instead of acting naturally. Are you wondering if he thinks about you more than he admits? You occupy a surprising amount of mental space in his daily life. He won't always say it, and he definitely won't message every time you cross his mind. But the truth is, you appear in his thoughts frequently. When he's working, when he's relaxing, even when he's supposed to focus on something else. It's not obsessive. It's more like an emotional background music that keeps playing. He replays your conversations, thinks about your reactions, remembers small details you've shared. His mind drifts to you naturally because the connection feels alive even when you're not actively talking. Do you feel he's drawn to your emotional stability? One of the things that attracts him most is the emotional steadiness you carry. You're not chaotic, not impulsive in the way he's used to seeing from people his age. You respond instead of react. You think before you speak. You handle emotions with maturity. He feels safe in that energy, not judged, not pressured, not confused. Your emotional stability becomes a grounding force for him, something that calms his internal restlessness. Being around you makes him feel like he's stepping into a healthier emotional space, and he finds that incredibly appealing. Are you questioning if he feels you understand him better than people his age? He feels seen by you in ways he hasn't experienced before. With people his age, he often feels the need to simplify himself, tone things down, or hide certain fears or ambitions. But with you, he feels understood on a deeper level, almost like you can sense the layers beneath his surface. You pick up on things before he says them, you notice emotional shifts, and you listen differently. That sense of being understood creates a bond that he can't replicate with younger women. It makes him feel valued, not just liked, and that distinction matters more than he expected. Do you wonder whether he tries to impress you with small gestures? He puts effort into the little things, the way he phrases messages, the way he remembers what you've said, the way he adjusts his behavior around you. These gestures might seem small or subtle, but in his mind, they're ways of showing you that he cares. Sometimes he tries to appear more capable, more organized, more thoughtful than he naturally is. He chooses nicer words, he responds faster, he offers help, even if he's not sure how to follow through. He wants you to notice him, to appreciate his efforts, and to see that he's genuinely trying to match the level of connection you bring. Do you sense he hides his vulnerability from you? He definitely shields certain parts of himself. Not because he doesn't trust you, but because vulnerability feels risky when he cares this much. He doesn't want to appear too emotional, too uncertain, or too dependent. So he holds back the fears, the insecurities, the moments of self-doubt. He shows strength, humor, confidence, but behind that, There's a quieter emotional world he's not ready to reveal completely. He's afraid that exposing those softer parts might shift how you see him. He opens up slowly, cautiously, revealing vulnerability in pieces rather than all at once. Are you asking yourself if he feels a soul-level connection here? There's a depth between you that he can't rationalize, something that feels strangely familiar, even though your lives and experiences are completely different. He feels this emotional resonance when he talks to you, a sense that your energies match in a way he hasn't found elsewhere. It's not just chemistry and not just attraction. It's a quiet recognition, like you trigger something inside him that has been dormant. When he's with you, there's a feeling of alignment, like conversations flow effortlessly, or silences feel comfortable instead of awkward. He might not use big spiritual words to describe it, but he senses that what's happening here reaches deeper than surface-level interest. It feels like something meaningful is unfolding, and that feeling lingers long after you two stop talking. Do you wonder whether he dreams about a future where the age gap doesn't matter? In his private thoughts, the age difference fades away. When he imagines moments with you, traveling, living together, sharing mornings or late-night conversations, he doesn't calculate years, he calculates feelings. In those mental scenarios, you're simply two people who fit well together, not two people defined by a number. Sometimes he even imagines how others would perceive the two of you, and he quickly dismisses it because, in his emotional world, it's irrelevant. What he focuses on is connection, compatibility, and how natural things feel when he's around you. To him, the age gap becomes a background detail rather than a defining element. The future he visualizes is shaped by emotions, not numbers. Do you think he fears losing you to someone more appropriate? There's a quiet fear inside him that he doesn't always acknowledge. He wonders if someone closer to your age, someone with more life experience or a more stable lifestyle, might seem like a better match for you on paper. This fear doesn't dominate his actions, but it sits in the background, influencing how he tries to show up in the connection. When he sees confident older men or individuals who seem more established, he can't help but question whether his youth is a disadvantage. That fear makes him try harder, not out of insecurity alone, but out of genuine desire to be someone who adds value to your life. What scares him most is the idea of losing you before the connection has even had a chance to unfold fully. Are you sensing a strong physical attraction that both of you try to control? There's a powerful undercurrent of physical tension between you, something that builds in the pauses between conversations, in the looks exchanged, in the way you both become a bit more aware of each other's presence. It's not chaotic or reckless. It's slow burning, intentional, and almost too intense to act on impulsively. Both of you feel it, but both of you also try to keep it contained because the emotional side of this connection already feels deep. The attraction isn't just physical. It's layered with curiosity, respect, and emotional craving. That combination makes the chemistry almost overwhelming at times. And that's exactly why you both hold it back, trying not to let the physical overshadow the emotional unfolding. Do you question if he finds your independence extremely attractive? Your independence is one of the things that captivates him the most. He admires the way you handle your life without relying on anyone, the way you make decisions with confidence, the way you don't cling or chase. That self-sufficiency is magnetic to him because it's different from what he's used to. He sees you as someone who has learned from life, built yourself strong, and doesn't need validation from external sources. This makes him feel both excited and a little humbled. He's drawn to the power you carry naturally, not loud, not aggressive, but calm and grounded. Your independence makes him want to meet you as an equal rather than someone who needs to be rescued or guided. Are you wondering whether he secretly analyzes every conversation you have? He absolutely goes back over your words, your tone, the little details you drop without thinking. After talking to you, he replays parts of the conversation in his mind to understand what you meant, how you felt, and whether he responded the right way. He notices when your mood shifts mid-sentence, when your energy softens, when your humor changes. He doesn't analyze out of paranoia. He analyzes because you matter to him. He wants to understand you deeply, and every conversation becomes a kind of emotional study. He pays attention to what you say and what you don't say, and he holds onto your words longer than you realize. Do you feel he tries to match your energy and maturity? There's a conscious effort on his part to rise to your level emotionally and mentally. When he's around you, he becomes more thoughtful, more attentive, more composed. He tries not to react impulsively, not to let immaturity slip through, not to show the sides of himself that he thinks might appear too young. He listens more carefully, chooses his words more intentionally, and tries to meet you with the same depth you offer. He doesn't want you to feel like you're carrying the connection or guiding him. He wants to show that he can meet you halfway, that he's capable of emotional presence and effort. Are you asking yourself if he sees you as a life-changing person? In his mind, you're not just another passing connection. Something about you shifts the way he thinks, the way he sees himself, the way he approaches relationships. You challenge his comfort zones, introduce him to new emotional territory, and make him reflect more deeply on what he wants in life. He feels that knowing you is shaping him in subtle, yet significant ways. You make him feel things he didn't expect to feel so strongly, and that alone changes his understanding of what a connection can be. Even if he hasn't labeled it consciously yet, he feels that meeting you has altered his path in some way. Do you sense he gets nervous around you in a good way? There's a fluttery energy inside him when he's around you, a mixture of excitement and vulnerability. His heartbeat picks up when you look at him a certain way. He becomes more aware of his posture, his tone, even his breathing. He wants to make a good impression, but he also wants to stay authentic, and balancing the two makes him a little shaky inside. That nervousness isn't fear, it's anticipation. It's that feeling of being around someone who matters, someone who triggers emotions he can't easily hide. His nerves are a sign of how strongly he feels, not a sign of discomfort. Are you wondering whether he's scared of how deeply he feels for you? The depth of his emotions genuinely catches him off guard. He didn't expect to feel such intensity with someone older, someone who holds themselves with such strength. He thought this would be something light, something fun, something simple. But it's not. It's layered, emotional, meaningful, and that scares him. Not because he wants to run, but because he knows deep emotions can lead to deep vulnerability. He worries about losing control, about falling harder than you fall, about revealing too much. The intensity both excites him and unsettles him, making him tread carefully even when he wants to dive in. Do you think he would fight for this connection if needed? He's not someone who gives up easily on things that genuinely matter to him. If this connection were threatened by misunderstandings, insecurities, or external opinions, he wouldn't just walk away. He has a stubborn streak when it comes to protecting what feels important. Even though he's young, he has this inner determination that activates when his emotions are involved. He may not be loud or dramatic about it, but he would show persistence, effort, and emotional resilience. He'd try to communicate, try to fix things, try to prove that he's serious about building something real. Are you sensing that he's loyal, even if he doesn't say it out loud? His loyalty shows in the patterns of his actions, the way he prioritizes conversations with you, the way he avoids situations that might disrespect you, the way he stays connected even during busy or stressful periods. He doesn't make grand declarations of loyalty, but he behaves in ways that reveal steadiness. When he cares about someone, he becomes naturally protective of that bond. He doesn't entertain distractions easily, doesn't jump from one connection to another, and doesn't divide his attention when his emotions are engaged. His loyalty is quiet, but strong. Are you questioning if he's willing to grow and evolve to meet you at your level? There's a genuine desire inside him to become the best version of himself, not because he feels pressured, but because being around you inspires growth. He sees qualities in you, emotional intelligence, stability, confidence, that he wants to develop within himself. He's not trying to transform overnight, but he's open to learning, adjusting, and evolving. He wants to communicate better, control his impulses, and understand himself more deeply. He sees growth not as a chore, but as something meaningful, something that could bring him closer to the kind of relationship he imagines with you. Are you wondering whether he sees you as a partner, not a temporary situation? In his mind, you're not someone who fits into a moment. You're someone who could fit into a life. When he thinks about you, the energy isn't fleeting or casual. He doesn't categorize you as someone who's here just for excitement or temporary comfort. Instead, He sees qualities in you that align with the kind of partnership he's quietly craving: emotional maturity, depth, steadiness, passion, and authenticity. The connection doesn't feel like something he wants to experience briefly and walk away from. He views you as someone who could share real experiences, real challenges, real intimacy. Even if he doesn't say it out loud, his feelings lean toward building rather than passing through. Do you feel he's willing to take risks for this connection? He's the type who becomes braver when emotions get involved. Even if risk isn't his default setting, he finds himself stepping into uncomfortable territory because losing the connection feels worse than facing the unknown. He's willing to initiate conversations when he's scared, willing to be honest even when it makes him vulnerable, willing to adjust his routine or priorities to keep the bond strong. He knows the age gap might create doubts, questions, or practical concerns, but for him, the emotional payoff outweighs the risks. The risk, in his mind, is not taking the chance at all, because he senses the connection is too rare to ignore. Are you sensing that he talks about you to someone he trusts? There's at least one person in his circle, a close friend, a sibling, or someone whose opinion he respects, who knows about you. He doesn't go into every detail, but he shares enough for that person to understand how significant this connection is for him. He might mention the age difference cautiously, testing how others react, but his real focus is the way you make him feel. He describes your energy, your way of speaking, your confidence, your emotional presence. He talks about you not as a casual interest, but as someone who has his attention in a serious way. And that person can sense his feelings even when he tries to downplay them. Do you wonder whether he sees you as his safe space? When he's around you, there's a sense of relief he doesn't fully understand. You give him permission, without even trying, to relax, to breathe, to drop the version of himself he shows the rest of the world. With you, he doesn't feel the need to perform or pretend. Your energy is grounding, calming, and emotionally steady. He feels like he can speak openly without being judged, like he can reveal thoughts he usually keeps hidden. Even in silence, he feels understood. That emotional safety is rare for him, and it's one of the biggest reasons he feels so drawn to you. Do you question if he believes you bring balance into his life? Your presence adds a stabilizing influence to his normally fluctuating emotions. He admires the way you stay composed, the way you handle difficulties, the way you choose your reactions rather than letting impulses drive you. When he compares his life before meeting you to how he feels now, there's a noticeable shift. Less inner chaos, more clarity, more sense of direction. He sees you as someone who complements his energy rather than competing with it. Where he is impulsive, you are thoughtful. Where he is unsure, you are certain. That balance feels natural and soothing to him, like two energies meeting at the right frequency. Are you wondering whether he fears losing you more than he shows? He doesn't talk about this fear because he doesn't want to come across as needy or insecure, but it's very real. The idea of losing access to your presence, your voice, or your emotional support genuinely unsettles him. He feels the connection so strongly that even the thought of it fading creates an uncomfortable tension inside him. He worries about misunderstandings, about timing, about external factors, about the age gap creating doubts for you. He fears that something might slip away before he has fully expressed what he feels. This fear motivates him to stay present, stay attentive, and keep the connection alive.